Hello, and welcome back to Alice Talks Football, and welcome back to your daily late-night transfer news and Manchester United news roundup. Well, we're going to round up all the news that's come out today in 10 minutes for you guys. News, what news is the question? Because a lot of it is repetitive, a lot of it is pointless stories, a lot of it is not the most exciting news, but we have got a response from Marcus Rashford. We have got a story that Manchester United had told Osimhen he's first choice. They want him. Updates on Sancho. More on Douglas Luiz to Manchester United. More on Calvert-Lewin. More on Richard Rios. More on Jadon Sancho. We're going to get into all the stories that come out today. And my honest thought, and not even to be negative, but I just feel like every story that's come out today, and every story that's come out yesterday and the day before, it's just so irrelevant and so I just can't be bothered. And until I see this in Boomo, here we go, or an exit, here we go, I really cannot be bothered. But yeah, let's get into the news. Let's get into the stories because there is actually a few somewhat relevant stories going about. Maybe I'm being a little bit too negative. So Marcus Rashford has basically responded. So Marcus Rashford, this is via Henry Winter. Now, when Marcus Rashford did that interview just before Amorim sort of dropped him and then he left in January, Henry Winter was the guy that did it, that spoke with Marcus Rashford. And Marcus Rashford has not asked to leave the club, but he's accepted he's not part of Ruben Amorim's plans. He knows he has to leave to start playing again, and move abroad looks like the next step. Now, a couple of people are angry at this. They're saying, well, how can he say he's not asked to leave the club when he basically came out and said he wanted a new challenge and left in January, which is a very sort of point. But I don't think this is in response to that. I think this is in response to the report coming out yesterday that he was stripped of number 10, or the day before, sorry, that he was stripped of number 10 and he's not returning to training because he's asked to leave the club. Marcus Rashford, from what I'm hearing, was, obviously wants to leave the club, but he never apparently asked to leave the club. It was kind of just decided that he would. It was sort of, they came to the agreement that he would, that it was done. Do you know what I mean? But Marcus Rashford apparently was more than willing to come back to training. He wants Barcelona. We know he wants Barcelona, but he was more than willing to come back to training. And I think this is Marcus Rashford putting it out on his side, basically saying, in response to the article that came out yesterday, that he's not returning to training because he's asked to leave. Marcus Rashford and Manchester United have an agreement. It is over. He will go. But Marcus Rashford, I think, is trying to say, in response to the story that came out 2 days ago, that he didn't specifically go and ask to leave. He wanted to come back to training. We know he wants a move. We know Man United wanted to move, but he was more than willing to come back to training. He doesn't want to come back to Manchester United. We know that. Of course he wants to leave. But for me, I think Man United put out that these players asked to leave because it puts us in a better negotiating position if we're saying that these players want to leave rather than we want these players to leave. The truth is, Man United want those 5 players to go. That's the truth. Have all 5 players asked to leave? I think good 3 or 4 of them would have asked to leave for sure. But it's a situation where United want them to go, but they're putting out that they've asked to leave because it helps on negotiating position. Marcus Rashford has obviously made it clear he wants to leave. So I don't think he can be mad at Man United for putting that story out. But he did want to come back to training. He was open to come back to training. But he wants to leave because he wants to start playing again. He wants to get into the England World Cup squad. He would like a new challenge. And apparently he never asked Man United to leave, but he did make it clear he wanted a new challenge, which is basically asking him to leave. I think there was an agreement between the two of them. I don't think it was Rashford saying to Man United, I want to leave, and Man United were like, okay. I think Man United wanted Rashford to go, and he went, yeah, I want to go. That's what I think the truth is. But look, we need him to go to Barca because he's been sucking up Barca. He's absolutely been sucking up Barca, and if Barca don't move for him, it's going to be a bit embarrassing. Luis Diaz, Barcelona, very unlikely to get. Nico Williams, they won't get. So this puts Marcus Rashford in a very good position. Thank you. Barcelona want to try again to sign Marcus Rashford and reopen talks with him. A deal for Diaz is unlikely, said Florian Plettenberg. We also had Santi come out yesterday and say that Barcelona are interested in Marcus Rashford. They're ready to make a move again. Some sources from Spain suggested that Barcelona were not that interested in Rashford and he's more of a fullback option. Is that a Barcelona negotiating tactic to try and get the price down for Rashford? If Barcelona act like they've got 6 or 7 alternatives to Rashford, he's not that high up the list. Man United might go, we're so fed up, we want Rashford gone, have him on loan. Is that a Barcelona negotiating tactic? Do they want Rashford? Do they not want Rashford? I don't know. I think no Diaz, no Nico Williams. I think surely they go for Rashford now. The question is, can we get a permanent deal? Because we're still trying to get a permanent deal for Anthony, despite Red Betis making 50 million. And Anthony willing to take a wage cut. Rashford's willing to take a wage cut. Can we get a permanent deal? I don't know. Continuing on into news on Victor Osimhen. Now, I'm going to be honest, this smells of PR spin. It smells of PR spin. This smells of we've missed out on Delap, we've missed out on Gyökeres. Let's say Osimhen was first choice. So it has come out that Victor Osimhen is Ruben Amorim's first choice target and not Gyökeres. As of April, Manchester United made it clear to Osimhen that he is their first choice. Apparently in April, we told Osimhen he's our first choice. Well, in April, our first choice was Liam Delap, and I know that. So we didn't tell him that. I think this was a BS report, and I think this is PR spin. Arsenal getting Gyökeres. We need a bit of PR. We never wanted Gyökeres. Osimhen was first choice. If Osimhen's first choice, why aren't we working on a deal? Why aren't we working on a deal for Osimhen? We could tell Osimhen we want him. We can tell Osimhen he's first choice. Cool. But we ain't working on a deal for him. We actually tried to have conversations with Gyökeres, and we did for a bit. We had conversations with Delap, and we did for a bit. We ain't done nothing for Osimhen. Because let's be honest, if we were working on Osimhen, we wouldn't be secretly working behind the scenes these last few weeks and it come out of nowhere. No. If we were working on a deal for Osimhen, it would be all over the media. Because Ineos got a bit of pressure on them. Nothing is happening. The minute we're doing something, it's going to go all out there. Oh, we're working on a deal for Osimhen. PR spin. We're not. I want Osimhen. Maybe we have told Osimhen we want him. It makes sense. Osimhen makes so much sense. He's the best striker on the market. But unless he's willing to lower his wages, it's not possible. Unless we sell, it's not possible. I like Osimhen. Could be one to watch in August. I'm not saying we won't sign him. But as of now, I don't think there's much in it. I think we want Osimhen. I think we'd love Osimhen. Do I think we'll go for him? Well, we'll wait and see. Continuing on into Jadon Sancho. Just in Juventus and Sancho situation, reports are coming in the summit that can close the deal will be held at the start of next week. The cost remains 25 million. Payment options are being discussed. That's 21 million pounds, 25 million euros. Sancho is given a yes to Juventus. Sancho said yes to Juventus. Juventus are willing to pay up what we want. We're going to have a meeting to sort out the deal. You think bish bash bosh done, right? No. Juventus are unlikely to even cover half of Jadon Sancho's salary. No. Jadon Sancho rejected, what was it, 160k a week from Chelsea because he wanted more money. And look, it's Man United's fault for giving Jadon Sancho 250 grand a week because no club's going to even give him 200 grand a week. So he's going to take a massive wage cut wherever he goes. But he got offered good money by Chelsea, good money by Napoli, good money by Fenerbahce, but he said no to Fenerbahce. He wants a top 5 league club. If you want to move to a club in a top 5 league and you want to move to a good club and you want to rejuvenate your career ahead of the World Cup, then you need to take a wage cut. And you've got a choice. You can sit and you can run down your contract at Manchester United and jeopardise your career for another year, a career that you've not really achieved anything in the last few years, considering the potential around you. You were okay at Chelsea. They wanted you. You didn't go. You had a big break at Man United the season before, and then a big break at Man United the season before that, and a poor first season at Man United. I'm not being mean. Look, we gave him those wages. We were stupid. We were idiots for giving him those wages. And he's well within his right to say, you know what? I'm just going to run down my contract and take a big signing on bonus and make the most of these wages because I'm never going to earn them in my life again. He's well within his rights to do that. But when you preach freedom, when you force your way out of Manchester United 2 seasons in a row, you wouldn't think if he's that desperate to get out of Man United, he'd take a wage cut. If he's that desperate to take a wage cut, I don't know who's around Sancho. I don't know who's advising Sancho. But whoever's around Sancho, whoever's advising Sancho, is giving him the wrong advice because he's not going to make anywhere near the money he's on right now anywhere else. So he needs to basically accept that he's got to take a wage cut and adios. I think he could run down his contract. There is more reports coming out about our interest in Calvert-Lewin. This is TalkSport now saying he's on our list. Hopefully he's far down the list. Hopefully there's not much truth behind that. We have also got news about interest in Douglas Luiz again, which could be involved in a Jadon Sancho deal. I'm not against it. It's not my first choice, but I'm not against it. Anything to get Sancho out at this rate. Manchester United have already negotiated with Douglas Luiz in recent months and have returned to the charge to sign him. Everton and Fulham have also inquired. So apparently we have negotiated with Douglas Luiz in recent months. We like him. We're watching him. Cool. Douglas Luiz just screams of a we should have done it in January type deal. I just think now all the options on there. Surely we've scouted better midfield options. I just feel like we're not prepared. We're getting stuff like this, like we're closely monitoring Richard Rios. We're scouting him. It's like we shouldn't be scouting in summer. We should know who we want. We should know who our options are. Do we want Douglas Luiz? Do we want Richard Rios? Or are we desperate and going for them, and have we done the work? Do we know that we want them? You know, Richard Rios is one to watch, Douglas Luiz is one to watch. There were some links to Hayden Hackney that don't seem very advanced. I don't know. I can't even think about midfield and what we're going to do in midfield, because it just seems like it's not ever going to happen unless we sell someone. And right now we don't look too much like selling anyone. But look, nothing ever happens on a Sunday. Lots happen on a Monday. Hopefully tomorrow's a big news day. Thank you for watching. Bye.